Was this just a bad day, or was this a bad sign?
It was a bad day. Okay. I'm not full on panic with the Dallas Cowboys. It was a lot of things that were very disappointing though. Like this looked like the penalties, obviously, that you mentioned. The red zone problems, I think, is a bit overblown. I don't want to, I don't make excuses for the Cowboys. Y'all know that, but the red zone is you can fix that in a week. They may go 4 for 5 this week. It just depends on making plays. They had tight ends drop 2 passes in the first week, which would change them numbers drastically. I don't think Zeke Elliott is the answer to the red zone. I saw y'all talk about that. The thing that I was most disappointed in is, and Jeff knows this and Foxy knows this, they played like they thought Arizona sucked.
Right.
And they didn't give the respect to the team. The first 2 weeks we saw the Cowboys, because their opponents were the Jets and the Giants, say, we got to go out and make a statement. Remember, G, the Cowboys didn't know Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be playing for the Jets. That was a big game for them coming up. The Giants, obviously, in division opponent. They went to Arizona very disrespectful. And I pointed out yesterday, from a scheme standpoint, I thought Dan Quinn adjusted late. There were a lot of plays that Jonathan Gannon and this staff put together that they just could not defend. I got clips of guys lined up on top of each other on defense. It was just so out of ordinary for them before the play started. So here's the thing that the Cowboys have to decide, all right? When it comes to Dak Prescott, and it's the lightning rod when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, do we feel comfortable with him having the ball in his hands in these critical times, or when we asking him to go down and make game-winning drives? Dak can do it, but this is right now 0-1 in those moments. And it's going to be like that for the season. We can't expect this defense to do what they do every week. Sometimes you got to go out and you got to overcome the adversity of not having 3 starting offensive linemen. You got to overcome the adversity of your defense not shutting people out. And I don't think that's a lot to ask when you're asking that just a few times a season. And right now, that thing reared its ugly head at the end of the football game. I'm not talking about the turnover. I'm talking about the ability to overcome all of the things that wasn't going well.
Get some quick takes from everybody.
It was flat, right? Their performance was flat, but it was an anomaly. I mean, I really do believe that. And I agree with Swagoo. Like, when you think about the Cowboys and what they have to work on, the red zone is something they have to work on. He's right about the drops. But when you get in the red zone, they've tried to run the red zone. Everybody told me this could be Zeke. The problem is, like, it's players, not plays, when you hit the red zone. And that's a fact of football, right? Find a way to get your best guy. So get them more targets in that red zone. I think when you're looking at the Cowboys, I do disagree one thing. That defense can't do what it did against, because this team's not built to play from behind. So if you can give up a big play, you can't give up 200 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns in the first half, because your offense isn't predicated. You know, Mike McCarthy wants to slow this offense down. So if you're going to go with that mentality, you got to go Kellen Moore style. You just go wide open all the time. So you can't have both, right? You can't have the defense say, we're going to do this, and then allow that to happen early.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah.
If the Cowboys didn't have the track record that they had over the last few years, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But they've proven that they're a good enough team to get to the playoffs. The questions that we have about the Cowboys aren't going to get answered until we get to the playoffs.
I agree with you on that. But my thing is just, can we keep the smoke consistent? Like, we want to talk about Dak. I get it. But tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, is this not supposed to be a championship defense? Championship caliber defense?
Yeah.
Okay,
they lost because of defense.
222 rushing yards. You let the Cardinals score on every drive in the first half? That ain't going to cut it.
70 points. Their defense is on its way to being historically bad.
You know what my mom always tells me? She always says, God don't like ugly. Here's the thing. When you come into this job, it can't be about what Nathaniel Hackett did. It can't be about, well, Russell Wilson needs to stop kissing babies. It needs to be, how are you going to fix this situation?
Yep.
And when they put up 70 on you, you were brought in to be the solution. And unfortunately, the questions of can they turn it around, the goal is not to turn it around. It is to win a Super Bowl, right?
Exactly.
And right now, this marriage is going to end in divorce. I'm sorry.
But they said no bucket hats and keep your uniform.
We're focusing on the wrong thing.
But let me make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. What marriage is going to end in divorce? Sean and Russell, or Sean and the Broncos?
No, I don't see Sean and Russell coexisting in this place. If the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, I think the Broncos believe we have a head coach who can do that. They brought him in to say, we need to win a Super Bowl. Can you fix Russell? If he turns around and says, I can't make it work with this guy, one of them's gone. And
Here's the problem. Russell didn't just give up 70
Russell not
points.
broken.
Yeah, I agree.
Russell is not broken this year.
Agreed. Bro. This is not a Russell Wilson issue. Like I get what happened last year. Here's the deal. Your job as when Sean Payton got brought in was you're a QB whisperer, right? Like you're an offensive-minded guy. Russell Wilson can play, bro. There ain't many out there who have won Super Bowls, bro, and he did it. And you can say what you want, like he had a lot of fourth quarter. This guy has played a lot of good football. You can still see he's capable of good football. It is the totality of the team has got to get fixed. But I do believe that Russell Wilson and Sean Payton can coexist and get better. Because let me tell you what makes coaches Hall of Fame coaches? Great quarterbacks. That's a fact. You got guys going to the Hall of Fame. Ain't many going in without a Hall of Fame QB. That's just being real.
I mean, if I'm the owner of a football team and my coach walks in and says, I can't win with this quarterback after giving him up 70 points in a game, I'm going to throw him the hell out of my office.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't even think Russell Wilson belongs in the conversation this week. You just gave up 70 points, Swagoo.
Yeah, I said it last week, man. Russ, he's just the easiest target in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just
Actually,
like
the easiest target is any receiver playing against the Broncos. That's a whole other thing.
That's
dirty.
I mean,
That's dirty.
They are awful. They are god awful on defense.
But here's the thing. Nick, you said earlier when we talked about the Jets, you don't have that many seasons. If you are this fan base, if you are this front office, you brought in Russell, it didn't work. You brought in Sean Payton. How much time do you give it? I think Russell, they have to see how the season plays out, but how much time do you give this experiment? And who do you keep if this experiment doesn't work?
Yeah, who you going to?
Right.
I'm keeping Russell Wilson. I'm telling you right now, I'm keeping Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
like,
man,
there ain't a whole lot of them. God don't just go, there's 32 of them because there ain't. Yeah. There ain't 32 good ones like that.
Here's my thing. If you believe that, I don't think you make the switch with Nathaniel Hackett. I feel like if you believe Russell can work here, you just say they need another season together. They need more seasons.
Not with Hackett.
I get you, but there's no salary cap for coaches. So, like, they're committed to Russell. If you're going to move on from Russell, you're going to have to get Purdy in the draft. You're going to get lucky.
You're going to get lucky.
Along the line. That's a lot more difficult to do than to go ahead and bite the bullet and eat that big cap, or not cap, eat that big number for Peyton and find someone else there. I don't think they're going to move on from either. It'd be premature. Both of them have a track record that's worth
this season. But again, this ain't about Russ. Yeah. This damn team just gave up 70 points, okay? And the bottom line is this. Sean Payton don't need to say no player name. Yeah. He needs to say this staff did not have this team ready to play, and that's on me. Look, I don't care who it is, and we talking about Miami reinventing offense and all of that. Stop letting people get behind your defense, man. Like at some point, you and Vance Joseph got to get together and say, regardless, we're going to make them run 12 plays.
They weren't behind them, though. They were in front of them going like,
I mean, just wide open. Like, what are we doing?
Through our week 4, Big 4. Kmart, let's start with tomorrow night's game. What's the number one thing you're watching for Lions-Packers?
Huge game. I actually want to see if the Lions are who we thought they were in the preseason. Look, they've beaten the Packers, I believe, 3 straight times in a row. But now there are questions about could Jordan Love actually and the Packers win this division? No, this is supposed to be the Lions division. This team came off hot last year. I think they have the roster to do it, and I think they will win.
Swagoo, Patriots, Cowboys. What's the number one thing you're watching?
I'm looking to see. I don't know. I forgot what.
The offensive line.
No. The offensive line being back healthy and protected that. First of all, they got to get their guys back. This is one thing we haven't talked about with Dallas in the past. They've been very injured on the offensive line and inconsistent. Are they going to get these guys back and be able to protect? Because they play Bill Belichick now. Yeah. This ain't just a toss-up win for the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely not. And then they get San Francisco the week after that. Jeff, Dolphins, Bills, what are you watching?
Give me a shootout, baby. I want to see points all over. Josh Allen seems to play well against the Dolphins. We're seeing what Tua and this Dolphins offense is doing, hanging up 70 against Denver. I am looking for a shootout. And here's the one thing I really want to see from the Bills. Take Hill out of the game. Take him out of the game, the best you
get out of here with that offensive line.
See what you can do.
You just say take him out the game.
Do your job.
You know what?
Do your job.
Take him out the game.
I'll come back to that one. In the meantime, Neek, what are you watching for Chiefs-Jets?
I don't know. See if God cares about y'all enough to protect y'all for a hot second. I don't know. That's it. And to see if the Jets turn on each other.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a prayer. They're going to have to pray. They're going to have to keep fighting. But we expect it to be a rough game. So I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen.
I just hope Taylor Swift is not in the audience and sees you guys embarrass yourselves. I just can't have that.
She's going to be there.
It could be so tragic. Taylor Swift could write a double album about the Jets.
If Taylor Swift invited you to go to the game, would you go to be there?
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous question. Of course.
No. He's a Swiftie. I don't know. I don't know if you want to see that in person. That's why I'm asking. I'm not sure if you want to see the game in person.
You don't want Taylor Swift to see you in that state?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Because you know he can't hide his emotions.
Greedy,
like,
unhinged.
Where is he?
Yes.
Yeah, where are you?
It's a tough choice for me. In the meantime, the only person Jet fans really want to see, even more than Taylor Swift, is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He was on McAfee yesterday, and he had this message for their fans, their stars, and everybody else.
I'm about to come get this man.
There's adversity points in every season. This year it's happening early, and people are coming for us. And there's some heated conversations on the sideline and different things. I think we need to hold our poise a little bit better. We just need to grow up a little bit on offense and lock in and do our jobs, everybody, and not point fingers at each other. It sucks not being there. It's tough. It's really hard. I miss the guys. Missed the leadership opportunity, missed balling, competing. Feel like, if I was there, some of those, things wouldn't be happening. Whether we're having success or not having success. It doesn't mean you're winning all the time and you got to handle it the right way. It's when we're not having success, how do we respond? How do we respond in adversity? And that goes for our fan base and former players as well. You're not helping the cause. You're not helping the cause.
I mean, he's right. Everything he says is right. But the only place that he's wrong is that he doesn't know what it's like to be on a team that he's not on. And that's the problem. They don't have him. And unfortunately, they feel like all hope is lost. You were just saying, I'm going through it. I am going through it.
I know it, G.
I'm now, I've arrived in the fifth stage of grief, which is acceptance. And what I've accepted is the fact that he's not coming back, and all of their realistic goals, or all of their initial goals, are no longer realistic. So here's the problem. They have to try and there's still 3 months left in this season. So they signed Trevor Siemian yesterday. That's something they obviously could have done the day after Rodgers got hurt. But, I'm not sure what took them 2 weeks to do that. But let's put that aside for a moment.
Even when they do something, he still piles on.
Well, but the problem that they have is that it feels, and Rich Cimini, who covers the Jets and does an outstanding job, said this on his podcast, they're starting to implode. You can see it. And Aaron can't do anything about it because he's lying in a bed in California. If he was there, that wouldn't happen either. But Swagoo, it feels like it is like a powder keg, and it is ready to blow.
That's what it looks like. It looks that way, and the problem is that's the reality for this football team. And as much as you want to get going and get motivated to play, you realize that you're playing at a deficit. Here's the thing, too. I think this is what we have to acknowledge, and I think this is what Aaron has to understand when he's talking about this situation. They gave you full autonomy, dog. This was your team, top down. The owner, the general manager, the head coach, everybody. And maybe they got to realize now that we should have went about this differently, but they gave full power to Aaron Rodgers. Everybody looked at him with that twinkle in their eye, like this. And maybe the message is now, it's gone. It exploded. So when you're a coaching staff and when you're a front office and when the general manager goes all in, remember, Joe Douglas went out and got Lazard and Randall Cobb. They gave this. This was like Aaron Rodgers here, bro. Take us to where we need to go. And now that you remove that element, that is the belief that left. The belief is not about can we play well or can we play football game. The way you set this up, think about it. If Tom Brady went to Tampa after they won 7 games, right, and everybody was like, this defense, it's same situation.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady would have got injured and you had to go back to what happened to you last year, dude, that's hard to come back from, especially when your staff and front office is preaching the same thing.
Hey, listen, here's the only thing I said that I would disagree with you. You gave him the room and the building and the team because you've seen it work with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. You saw it work with Peyton Manning in Denver because you want a culture changer.
Yes.
You want a guy who's going to come in and change the culture of your locker room.
And it worked.
That's what, exactly.
It was working.
And you see it. So you can't regret what you did because you did all the right things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Your problem now is you got to move on and nobody cares. Only the Jets fan cares. No other team cares about your team's problems. Nobody else outside the building cares about your problems. Your family telling you how bad it is. Woe is me. Don't nobody care about that either. We've all gone through tough times. The reality is the expectations have to change, but as players, as leaders in your own right, you have to step up